In this modern era, all things are progressing, including the types of games for children. In the past, children only played with dolls or Barbie, but now they demand something more sophisticated. This finally became a new challenge for several toy companies to create dolls that could interact or even talk with children. Even a company has created a mobile application that can be accessed by children so they can connect with their dolls. The same thing was felt by a girl named Caddy. Her parents gave her a doll to accompany her to play. But that sometimes makes the caddy too busy with his toys, so that occasionally his parents invite the caddy to go skiing. In the middle of the trip, the caddy's family car was adrift because of the increasingly heavy snow. The father and mother decided to stop in the middle of the road while waiting for the snow removal truck to sweep the street. But a truck suddenly came from the opposite direction and hit the caddy's family car. Sin then moves on to show a woman named Gemma, who works as a development team at a toy company called Funky. That day, his boss, David, was furious because Gemma had not finished developing it, especially now that a rival company has just released a doll that is exactly the same as theirs, but they provide a much cheaper price. Of course, this is a big loss for the Funky company, so David orders Gemma and his team to immediately finish whatever game they are currently developing. You can see that Gemma and her two teams, Cole and Tess, are currently developing an iRobot, which they named Megan. Unfortunately, the development never came to fruition because there were still improvements in several components. As a result, during the trial, Megan experienced a technical error and an explosion occurred. That, of course, annoyed David even more, and he didn't care that next week Megan's development had to be finished. After that, Gemma gets a call from the hospital, who informs her about the Caddy family accident. From that accident, Caddy's parents died, so Gemma, as the younger brother of Caddy's mother, got temporary custody. The next day, Gemma invited Caddy to stay at his house, so Gemma's car was immediately attacked by a neighbor's pet dog named Celia. Gemma has repeatedly told Celia to chain her dog, but Celia has never done it. Because Gemma is currently not married, so he feels confused about how to face the Caddy. Being a parent is not something easy, let alone raising a traumatized child like a Caddy. To restore Caddy's condition, Gemma also called a child therapist named Lydia. He'd hoped that Lydia can help the Caddy because Gemma has to focus on developing his robot. In the evening when Gemma was working, a Caddy came to him. Naturally, maybe the Caddy felt lonely because Gemma was too busy working late at night. Gemma also tried to cheer Caddy up by showing one of his robot creations called Brush. The robot is designed to follow every movement of a person wearing gloves as a connection. Unfortunately, robots like brushes are rarely liked by children because they are too big and the price is too expensive. Hearing this, the Caddy said, if he has a toy like a brush, he probably won't need another toy. Caddy's words motivated Gemma to finish Megan's robot immediately. He might be able to adapt the robot to the shape of a child, so the production cost would not be too high. Thanks to the cooperation of Gemma and her team, Megan's robot was finally completed. The next day, Gemma and the team immediately held the first simulation of Megan's robot. Gemma also chose a Caddy as the main user who would be connected to Megan. In no time, Megan was able to cheer up the Caddy and give him a painting of his face. David, who saw this, was impressed with the sophistication of Megan's robot. Then they would observe for 2 weeks to see the development of Megan's robot so that later it could be bought and sold immediately. Since then, Megan was brought home and began to live her daily life with the Caddy. Unexpectedly, Megan's presence succeeded in comforting the Caddy who had been down all this time. He can be a friend who always listens to every Caddy's complaints and also comforts him. Apart from being her friend, Megan also teaches Caddy a lot of things, from life sciences to some school lessons. They also play together, read books, and dance very happily. This will be the main attraction for Megan, so that parents are also interested in buying their children. Actually, the idea of Megan's robot worried Tess quite a bit, because games should be a companion in their spare time, not a substitute for the role of parents. Day by day being together with the Caddy made Megan obsessed with always taking care of him and not letting anyone hurt the Caddy. While playing darts, the Caddy told Megan that he had lost one of his arrows. Megan also tried to search all over the house, and she found that the arrow had crossed the barrier of Celia's house. When Megan was about to take the arrow, Celia's pet dog suddenly attacked her. Caddy also tried to save Megan until his hand was bitten by the dog. Gemma, who heard the Caddy's screams, immediately ran outside and found that his nephew was injured. He was angry at Celia, but Celia answered that this happened because Caddy and his robot had crossed the fence of her house. Gemma also reported this incident to the local police, so that at least Celia would get a warning. But the policeman said that the law did not apply because the Caddy was still considered fine. He only suggested to Gemma to fix the guardrail, so that Celia's pet dog couldn't bother her anymore. Megan, who acted as her nanny and best friend, was very angry to see the Caddy's condition. Since the police can't solve the case, Megan herself will step in to teach the dog a lesson. He came out of the house to approach the dog kennel, and this is what happened. The next day, Celia was looking for her dog around the complex because the dog had disappeared from the cage. From the start, he had been suspicious of Gemma, who suddenly disappeared after yesterday's problem. But Gemma didn't care one bit because he knew that it wasn't the culprit. He prefers to focus on the caddy and make sure he doesn't catch any infection. It doesn't feel like it's been 2 weeks since they've been testing Megan's robot. This is the right time to introduce Megan to company officials and investors. Because from the start, the caddy was the main user, so he was forced to take part in the presentation even though he was sick. When the caddy started the presentation and Megan didn't follow Gemma's directions, the caddy suddenly burst into tears and expressed all his heart in front of Megan. Megan, who saw this, tried to comfort the caddy, and she recorded the caddy's good memories with her parents and sang a song, which made the caddy much calmer. Of course, the presentation succeeded in touching the hearts of company officials and investors. Funky company officials were amazed at Gemma's performance, so he offered a promotion and asked that Megan's robot be distributed immediately. After returning to the house, Gemma tried to get closer to the caddy. What happened at the previous presentation made Gemma realize that the caddy was slowly starting to move away from him, and now he is getting closer to Megan. Likewise, during a therapy session with Lydia, Megan swiftly fetches a tissue when she sees the caddy crying. This is what finally made Lydia realize that the closeness between the caddy and Megan was not normal. Slowly, the caddy began to move away from the people around him and only focused on Megan. He also didn't want to listen to Gemma's words and was now starting to disobey. As a result, Gemma also invited the caddy to do activities outside the house so he could meet other children his age. In an outbound event, all the children were gathered to play a game. At that time, the caddy was grouped with a naughty boy named Brandon. When Brandon was pranking the caddy, Megan suddenly came to help him. Brandon, who was interested, then took Megan away and tried to make her talk by hitting and grabbing her. Because of that, Megan started talking. He then tweaked Brandon's ear until it broke. Brandon, who was scared, tried to run away from Megan, but unfortunately he tripped over a tree root and fell onto the road and was eventually hit and killed. After that incident, Gemma asked the caddy about what really happened. Caddy lied by saying Brandon was the one who took Megan from the toy store and took her away. Then after that, she didn't know what happened. Arriving at the congregation's house, he was visited by a policeman who asked him for information about Celia's dog, which has never been found. Gemma kept saying that she didn't know where the dog was, but Celia kept accusing her of seeing this. Megan began to act at night. She lured Celia into the barn and killed her cruelly in the barn. It's no wonder Celia's death has made the police even more suspicious of the Gemma family, especially since Gemma and Caddy are always related to people who die around them. Gemma also tries to find out what happened by examining the memory in Megan's body. But strangely, all of his memory data couldn't be opened until the last one when he saw Brandon. Megan suddenly appeared in front of Gemma. This made Gemma even more sure that something was wrong in the robot. He immediately turned off Megan's system, wrapped it tightly, and then brought it back to Funky's company. Gemma's decision, of course, made Caddy very angry. He began to be unable to control his emotions and continued to explode. At the same time, all the children were impatiently waiting for the launch of Megan's robot. In an instant, Megan became the idol most loved by children. After successfully calming Caddy, Gemma decided to take him home. While Megan will be looked after by Cole and Tess, before returning home, Gemma had time to call Tess, but somehow someone was talking on the other side of the phone, even though at that time I was busy tying Megan up. From here, Tess began to feel the terrible aura from Megan. They tried to check on Megan's robot, but the robot fought back and managed to escape. Megan's robot then casually dances and chases David and his assistant and kills them. Their corpses also reached the ground floor where Megan's robot grand opening was, and of course that shocked and scared everyone who saw it. After that, Megan got into David's car and went to Gemma's house. Once there, he surprised Gemma by playing the piano. He then attacked Gemma and a fight broke out between them. After being attacked, Megan experienced an error so that Gemma managed to escape. Gemma continues to attack Megan until her face is damaged, but Megan can still function. Caddy, who woke up, finally saw the incident. Megan tried to convince the caddy that he was the one who would always take care of her even better than Gemma. But it turned out that the caddy had changed. He took out a brush and used it to attack Megan. With good cooperation between Caddy and Gemma, the two of them succeeded in destroying Megan until it was completely damaged. After that incident, Gemma and Caddy were finally evacuated by the police. But when they left the house, one of the A's suddenly lit up. Then the film ended. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the bell, and share this video.